This program is brought to you by the Pacific States British Columbia Oil Spill Task Force. The task force was formed to protect more than 56,000 miles of sensitive shoreline along the coasts of Alaska, British Columbia, Washington, Oregon, California, and Hawaii. A single oil spill can cost millions of dollars in cleanup expenses, provoke harsh regulatory responses, and increase monitoring and limits on bunkering operations.
For the vessel, the most critical part, and where most spills occur, is in the topping off stages of the transfer.
It's usually very dramatic. Even a minor amount of oil on the water can spread over a huge area and create a very visual effect.
Safe bunkering practices require proper procedures, safety awareness, constant attention, and regular training. Safe bunkering practices protect both people and the environment. They require good communication, a well-trained crew, and compliance with local, state, federal, and international laws. Best practices for safe bunkering start with the person in charge, also known as the PIC. This individual must be a credentialed master, mate, engineer, or tankerman.
A PIC is a person in charge. There's one for the receiving vessel and one for the delivering vessel, and the PICs are the two designated people who are formally on each side in charge of that vessel's transfer at that time.
The first task of the PIC is to identify and share with the crew the vessel's oil transfer procedures. Transfer procedures should be prominently displayed for quick and easy reference by all on board. Oil transfer procedures include the location of all pipelines, valves, vents, and overflows, the numbers and duties of those people assigned to the transfer operation, all relevant procedures before, during, and following oil transfer, detailed steps for communication among the bunkering team, steps for topping off the tanks, and steps for initiating an emergency shutdown.
You have a written oil transfer procedure in the United States that's required by the port state, and then of course the vessel needs to follow that written procedure because that's basically a work plan of how you do the job.
The preloading plan should include descriptions of the tanks and their capacities, the current level and type of oil in the tanks, expected final oil level and percentage at completion, the sequence of filling, and the monitoring procedures. It's important to stress to the crew that monitoring is more than simply observing the filling procedure. It's frequently watching the tank levels and valve alignments too.
The pre-meet is a very important part of the process because that bunker team meeting, Washington State calls it a training session, but it's really a bunker team meeting, needs to be timely in that it's held very close to the time of the bunkering, and that's so that people still have it fresh in their mind. What's the plan, how we're doing it, what tanks, what volumes, what sequence, etc., and what level they're filling to, where's their stopping point.
The PIC must emphasize, if anything appears to be out of order, crew members have a responsibility to stop or shut down the bunkering operation. Everyone must know they have that ability and responsibility to stop the transfer at any time. When in doubt, shut it down.
Anybody involved in the transfer can absolutely shut down a cargo transfer at any time. Obviously, the barge is paying attention to what's going on the barge because they can't see what's going on the ship. So any issues that they see on the barge, they would immediately shut down. Or if they see something going on up on the ship that they're not comfortable with, they would be able to shut it down.
By port and state regulations, we are not only the delivering vessel, but we are also their first responder. So when they have an incident aboard the ship and they shut us down, they have to be very forthcoming with us what's going on the ship. And if there is an incident, we have to be notified as soon as possible so we can initiate the first response if there is an incident and a possible spill.